Welcome back to Fairway Media's coverage of Round 3 MPO Farragut Open 2021. Brought to you by these sponsors and more. If you would like to be a sponsor for an upcoming video, please email the link you see down below. Held at Farragut State Park in Idaho over a wonderful Northwest weekend in September. This event has a lot to offer. If you are ever in the area, check out the park. Plenty of disc golf. Thank you again to all the sponsors. We also want to give a shout out to Jason and Dani for putting the event on. I'd like to thank Hanna for being on commentary with me. My name is Cory Jones. Here we are once again looking at the Recreator course, now in the back nine. Hanna, would you introduce the players?
Yes, we have Jared Persing, Chris Waugh, Kristen Dietrich, and Kade Filimoehala. Sorry.
We got it almost. It was close. It was close. We tried. We are hole 10, par 3, at 297 feet. This one did average above par, and you can see why. It's pretty treacherous. It's not the distance you have to deal with. It's the fact that it's low ceiling the entire way, a near 90-degree angle you have to make, and then you are just in all the trees that you've ever seen. Up on the box first, we have Christian Dietrich, currently leading the card 15 under, going with an over-the-top backhand turnover, which I have seen to be a pretty common play for right-hand players, and it appears as though he fell down in the tree line back there, not him, but his disc.
And that's kind of the risk. Sorry. Yeah, and that's kind of the risk you have to take of going over and high, because you do want to be in that fairway, but it's also easy to catch a branch.
Absolutely. Jared's actually able to take advantage of this hole better than the rest of the field being left-handed. He can throw what's a pretty natural hyzer for him, and it's going to play the angle well. As you can see, all the right-handed players have to turn something over to create that angle at that height. And as you said, if you are not landing in that circle that you can see down there, there is just so much to contest with. Here we have Kade, also opting for that up over the top shot. Seemingly in a pretty similar spot to Christian. So here we have Chris. Nice low line shot, putting him inside the circle. Looks like perhaps a cut roller. That was working pretty well. Not a lot of options from where he left himself off that shot originally. Here we have Christian.
Yes, and it got out.
That was a very, very technical shot. He had to put extra speed on that to get through a little bit of trouble in his way, hit the ground angle nicely, and he's going to be rewarded with that shot. We have Jared here, catches a little bit of trouble on his way in on that putt, but he'll be able to hit that pretty easily, I believe. That's well in his range.
Just hits the top band.
It was a good, confident run from Kade. Gave it a chance the entire way, just like you said, slightly too high, hits the band. Chris with a nice methodical putt right to the center of the chains, gets his par. Here we have Jared. Gets his par.
Great save.
As he points out the route that he had to take to get to where he was. Once again, he had to put a lot into that shot, so good for him. Unfortunate bogey for Kade, putting a little distance between him and Jared, but still everybody within 5 strokes. going into hole 11. We have a par 3, 306 feet, averaging directly at 3. So we're going to expect that most of the field parred. Maybe a few of those birdies came from this card right here.
Good shot from Christian.
Jared lets out a nice hyzer, playing that left to right, giving himself a great opportunity to get the 2 here on hole 11. Here we have Chris. Keeping it right on that inside line. And that's fantastic. Gets a little slide back to the basket. That's going to be a well-rewarded drive for Chris. Here we have Kade lining up the forehand.
All pretty good drives from these guys.
Yeah, everybody's going to have a real opportunity to convert. Kade being the furthest out and just still slightly high on his putt, but once again, directly on line, hitting target. Giving it a chance the whole way. Good effort from Kade. Christian lining up next. A little wide right, and thankfully that putter sat down. As you can see, the green does slope away from right to left.
Good hit. I feel like that putt looked a little wonky, did it not?
Yeah, you know, it looked like he was a little tentative on that downhill slope and kind of just stabbed at it, kept it a little low. It definitely did not look to be a characteristic putt, but he made it. And results are what gets that birdie for Jared, getting him 1 stroke closer. Now only 2 away from the lead on the card. But I agree, it definitely looked a little tentative. Nice putt from Chris, putting him also at 15.
2 birdies, 2 pars.
I didn't think I was quite as short as I ended up being.
Hole 12, par 3, 288 feet. This one, as you can see, also plays slightly downhill, also right to left, and you can see it drops off heavily at the back of the basket, so you do not want to overshoot this one. Once again, on this course, as through most of the courses on the property, you really need to have good speed control, good angle control, because this one can and will get away from you faster than you know what happened. Jared on the box, taking his time to line this one up with good reason. He's hoping that's going to sit. It looks like a putter, so it shouldn't have too much ground speed. In fact, that's beautiful. You're not going to ask for much better than that. Great shot from Jared. Here we have Chris lining up with a forehand. Didn't seem to get over on it the way he wanted, but if that stays up top, that should be okay. Whew.
Yeah.
But as you can see from the catch cam angle, it does pick up speed. The closer you get to the basket, the slope gets just a little more intense, and it wants to just wash away. It wants everything to just pull down that hill to the left. And as a right-hand backhand thrower, what you see there from Christian is a very common result on this hole, just because everything pulls you down in that direction. Kade going with what looks like a Nova straight at it.
That's going to be a tricky putt uphill with those trees.
That is the danger of the hill there that I was talking about a little bit earlier, and why the speed control is so crucial, because it is a pretty straightforward shot. It's under 300 feet, but everything wants to pull you away from the basket.
Right.
Fantastic putt from Chris,
Yes.
showing that he is not letting up anytime soon. Love to see it. Good birdie for Chris. Here we are, Kade coming back up the hill. Little tree, little basket. Thankfully it curled up, didn't get all the way back down to him. But like we said, that's the real danger of this hole, is getting past the basket and letting the hill run away from you. Thankfully that sat down for Christian. Oh no. I think this one's getting to him a little bit. Hopefully he'll shake it off. As a young competitor, it's easy to get in your head with things like that. But he's on lead card for a reason, so I expect to see a lot of good things from Kade.
Exactly. Good 2 from Jared.
Textbook shot on this hole.
Are you not living as rangerously as you used to? Ask your bartender if Voodoo Ranger IPA is right for you. It's been clinically proven to increase rangerousness, so you can get back to living rangerously again. Side effects may include cold hand, spontaneous cold tooth, and craving more Voodoo Ranger.
All right.
Back to the action. Tell us about hole 13, Hannah.
This is a fun one. I think they played it as an island hole. So there was a white circle around, and you had to make in the island, but it's pretty easy. You can go left side or right side, hyzer and hyzer, 288 feet.
Yep.
I know in years past when I had played it, this was also played as an island, but as you said, it's pretty forgiving. The size of the island itself is, it's like I said, forgiving, and it doesn't matter if you can put it as close as Jared did. I just hope he doesn't hit his head on the basket while trying to tap that in. Chris going from right to left, throwing a hyzer. That's going to be a pretty standard play for most right-hand, backhand players, and you can see he also well within his range. See how Christian attacks this one. A little bit lower, but again, opting for that right to left. It's going to be a bit short, but seemingly on the island, because again, it is a pretty large island.
Yeah, I think where that little tree is, right there, that's kind of where the line was to be in. It's a good shot from
that
Kade.
One up there, absolutely. So Christian with really the only sizable putt of the group. Nobody with an exact gimme, but he definitely has the most work to do here to hopefully convert. There it is. What a putt from Christian. Neck and neck the whole way right now with this card. It's fantastic golf.
Good 2 from Chris. Kade needs this.
Absolutely. Definitely looking to bounce back after a little bit of a hiccup on that last one. Well within his range, taking his time.
Yes.
Great birdie from Kade. Love to see that in a young competitor. Like I said, it's easy for people to get under their own skin.
And an easy
we're
tap
gonna
in
need
for
that sound
Jared.
effect saved for later. Oh boy, hole 14, par 3, 453 feet. You can see this one comes in at an average of 3.38, playing above par. Coming from an elevated tee pad. Let's see how these players attack it. Jared up first, the lone lefty. As you can see, that turned a bit more than he hoped for, but is in a spot where he should be able to attack. He did land with that tunnel fairway right ahead of him there. Hard to see. He kept it low, though, which is good. He played the downhill angle nicely. But we couldn't quite see where that one landed.
I think he turned it over just a little bit more than he liked.
It definitely seemed as though he was watching the right side of the fairway.
And that looks amazing.
That's fantastic. Christian with such a nice late turn on that. Holds that line. Great smash there. Young Gun Kade up next. Gets that to flip, and that's tracking nicely as well. It's going to be a little bit left side, but gets a sizable portion of the fairway out and underneath of him. Here we have Jared having to turn a little bit. Patent pending. Gets that one over a bit, seemingly, but should be able to have some form of an approach from there.
Good up from Chris.
Yeah, beautiful touch on that. Very close there from Jared.
Almost.
Just a little high. Catches top band and thankfully sits right down there. That'll be an easy tap in there. Oh, and Kade has just been so close on every one of these putts. He's been all over the basket today. Great effort from Kade. Christian lining up a nice little window framed putt here. With an assist from the tree, he gets the birdie, putting him at 17 under currently. Once again, it's a real tight race. 3 players separated by only 2 strokes. And with that par from Chris, we now see a tie atop the lead card here. Good putt from Kade. Just a formality here for Jared. The unfortunate bogey. But that's going to bring us here to hole 15. Tell us about hole 15.
Hole 15 at 376 feet, par 3. This one's pretty self-explanatory. You kind of just want to stay in the fairway the whole time. Oh, and you got some deer running by the basket. Cute.
Can I pay extra to have deer at every golf round I play?
It's pretty magical.
I would sign up for that package. But yeah, as you said, pretty straightforward. You can see there is kind of a left tunnel, right tunnel, but for the most part, it's just pick which side you're comfortable with and get something straight. The ceiling is pretty forgiving in the sense that a lot of this course has a low ceiling. This one's not too low. There's just kind of that left-right side choice you have to make off the tee. And at 376 feet, all of our players on this card should be able to attack it and have a chance. Chris catches that unfortunate hit there, kind of trying to pick either side of that tree line you want to split off the tee. He was holding it close, but just unfortunately caught it there. Kade with a nice flip up down the right side. Hits the concrete wall.
Man. If he didn't, I think that would have been parked.
Absolutely. He's out here playing his heart out, and you know, this is a game of inches, and sometimes you're just a little up, little down, and great to see him keep fighting through it though. He's going to be a competitor with every round he puts in.
Ooh. That little,
Oof.
yeah, that little bunch of trees, man, could really psych you out.
Yeah, and it would look as though Jared was kind of trying to turn it over from one side and just happened to get a little away from him there. Chris laces it all the way down there, a little too long, in fact, and finds a gap that I don't think anybody would imagine you could find.
Yeah.
He's now putting from the Shire. Here we have a forehand approach. And what a shot that is. As you can see from that angle, it's near impossible to tell where he was trying to get that disc to go, and he put it in a position where he can convert, so good for him. Nice shot there. Good approach from Kade.
One for one.
Ooh, good bid from Jared.
Absolutely. Right on line. Nearly every missed putt that we've seen from this card has hit direct center of cage or top. These competitors are just all over the basket today. Christian a little high on that attempt. Gets a little away from him, but still inside the circle.
This seems to be a tricky out. He's like, I don't know what to do. I mean,
yeah, you can see that, again, from that last shot, it pured the gap that he's trying to throw back through, and seemingly impossible. How he got there to begin with is crazy, but unfortunate situation. He tried to turbo putt his way out. He did make a little bit of progress, but there's really not much you can do from being that far out.
Ayo. No
Ayo
chains
is right.
needed.
Kade gets it in there. Keeps that par. Love to see it.
Pretty similar.
You know, a lot of times you'll see players read off of each other. You don't see it too much on the putting green when there's no wind, but... Oh, no.
I thought that
Christian...
was 3 for 3.
I thought the same, actually. Looked like he just was a little fast on that one. But that's going to keep things interesting, with both of the current leaders on lead card taking a bogey, as well as Jared. That's going to put them tied at 16.
With 9% APV, Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA is extreme. So extreme that for his next stunt, he'll be jumping over this. Now that's extreme. Wait, where'd he go?
Paging Voodoo Ranger, please report back to the ramp.
Good old Voodoo.
Thank you again, Voodoo Ranger. Hannah, tell us about 16.
This one's kind of tricky. Playing from the long pad, you got to get past that bunch of trees. I think that's probably the hardest part. Once you get out here, it's fairly more open. On the left, you have the road, which is OB, and that little hill. On the right side, it's pretty good to be over there. But yeah, basket straight ahead. Just that bunch of trees in the beginning is probably the worst part. And there's the irrigate.
You're hanging out. This is the best thing about my entire day. No, come back. We want to be friends.
Cute.
Don't leave. All right, here we are. And as you said, you can see the short pad. It's not that much distance added, but what a tunnel you have to hit. And that can get into the mind of any player. Kade does well to just keep it right over the top of the short pad. Seemingly it went a bit left. We weren't able to see that from a catch cam perspective or anything. So we'll get to see where that is as we get there. Christian makes the first and second gap pretty clean. We just have to hope it doesn't leak too far left down that hill. And that'll be playable.
Yep. Not too bad pin high, but the elevated putt is probably going to be what's more hard.
Absolutely. Chris had a good speed and angle on that one, and it even finds its way through a bit of that tree side on or tree line on the right side, excuse me. And he looks like he'll have a putt from where he landed.
That's looking good.
It's a nice, long, slow flip up from Jared. Also keeping it on the right side of the fairway, away from that uphill putt region. He'll be much more level with the basket and potentially even putting slightly downhill. So here we have Kade. He definitely got some distance off that one, and he was able to have a nice little pitch up forehand shot there. That's going to be well within a tap in range for him. So thankful it wasn't too catastrophic off the tee. Here we have Jared staring at the basket. Good safe bid. Chris lining up as well. Oh, what a run. He was ready to walk that one in. I was ready to follow him.
Me too.
And you'll see a lot of these players, I'd say 3 out of 4, with Kade being the more direct kind of speed putter. Chris, Christian, and Jared all have a bit of up to down in their putt. They kind of loft their putt in. So they have a lot of safety in running these longer putts when you have downhill or uphill involved. Kade is a much more direct putter. But I believe that that kind of putting style allows them to give these putts pretty safe runs from distance.
Some easy tap-in pars for these guys. They played that hole best as they could.
Getting all the way through that with nothing but pars is not a bad day. Here we are, hole 17, par 3, 330 feet, averaging slightly above at a 3.11. Pretty straightforward. You're going to see you have to hit this initial gap, and then once you make that initial gap, you're kind of looking at the basket. It's just a slight fade left for most of these players. And that looks to be tracking.
And you do want that skip at the end, because once you hit there, that skip's really going to push you up towards the basket, just like how Kade just pretty much parks it.
Absolutely. And with this, unless you're going up over the top, which you're not going to see too many players do because then it brings in the chance of hitting some trees and falling, you do really get, well, there we go. Christian's going for that. But a lot of players will play that lower skip shot because of the pine needles and how much ground play you get. He absolutely parks it, though.
Oh, my goodness.
He says, forget your pine needles. I'll show you how it's done. Great shot from Christian. Nice big old hyzer spike.
Push. There it is.
Nice little assist off the tree. That's going to give Chris a fairly makeable putt. It's going to be long, but it's in his range. We've seen him hit some putts today. This one may be a bit tricky for Jared. He's getting a great turnover line on that, and if it holds, he's going to make the corner, and that's a beautiful shot.
Let's go.
He is so masterful with those turnovers. This is a bit of a moment. When you're looking at the scorecard, you're tied with your competitor. You only have a couple holes left. You're staring down an opportunity. I've seen Chris in these situations many times, and you can see he's going through the routine. He's going to give it a good shot.
There it is.
Converts. What a putt from Chris.
Loving it.
One of the best putters in the Northwest, honestly. Not surprised to see him make that, but very excited. Good birdie for Chris. Jared, after getting that turnover line.
Another great putt from Jared.
Well, we don't get to see the chase card scores right now, but if Jared was checking in on scores, there's a lot of action happening in the background. There was a lot of good golf on the chase card, so that putt matters. It's good to see him make it. Kade lining up.
Just right side.
Just slightly outside of center there. But once again, he's hitting target nearly every time, whether it's in or out. Absolute park job from Christian. And look at the drama. Hole 18, par 3, 381 feet. Two of our players are tied. This one's pretty straightforward. You can see it's just straight ahead. It may be one of the more straightforward shots on the entire course.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Again, playing to do this with
It's going to be fun to see how this plays out.
Here we go.
Pleasure as always, dog.
Here we go.
Good to see you, man.
Kade. Go team.
Awesome.
Go team. Love to see it. Bit of a gallery behind him now too. Exciting. The tension is building. He just gets a little high, little right with that. It's going to kick off center fairway. This is going to open up an opportunity for Chris.
With this hole, like the basket looks right there, and you think to yourself, yeah, I'm going to park it, but there's so much opportunity to where you can just end up left or right. But he plays left to right, and he pretty much parks it. Great shot from Chris. That's probably exactly how you want to play that hole.
Yeah, honestly, Chris played it near textbook perfect. He kept it under the ceiling, and as you said, it is a straightforward shot, but you can see the entire right side of the fairway has a lower ceiling than the rest of the fairway, and a lot of players are going to end up finding that. As you've seen, both Christian and Jared have found some portion of that now. But yeah, what an absolute shot. Just a beautiful shot from Chris. That's going to give him a real chance to put the final nail in the coffin on this card here with that slight miss shot from Christian. Kade unfortunately catches the same branch but pushes through. He stays a little bit straighter off of that than either of the other competitors. You can see his disc there just in front of Jared.
Oof,
What a run.
that almost made it in. That would have been incredible, but still a good upshot.
Great upshot from Jared. 14 down at Farragut is nothing to sneeze at. These courses are incredibly technical. There's a lot of length involved. For a lot of players, you're going to be at an elevation you maybe have never played at. So great to see him just giving it his all, try to end on that highlight shot. Christian going with a bit of a skip shot to try to compete with that low ceiling. He definitely got the skip.
Chipmunk.
Squirrel. Kade playing smart. Good play. Gets it up there. Going to try to just make sure he cements that 10 under for the event. This is an important putt. Deep breath from Christian.
Wow.
What a finish. What a finish. Great round from Christian.
Absolutely.
Absolute pleasure to get to commentate on his round. As well as Jared. Jared's a great dude. Love to see him. Hopefully he just taps this one right in. You mean basket. And here we have Chris. After an amazing drive on hole 18, pressure moment. Door opened up. He ran through it. And this is what he has left.
There it is.
The fight never left. Great putt from Chris. It was a pleasure to get to see Kade, a definite up-and-comer. We'll be seeing a lot more of him in future coverage all around the world, I'd have to imagine. Jared taps in the unfortunate bogey, but that leaves Chris on top. Negative 18 for the event. Capitalizing after chasing it all the way down to the final hole. That's some fun golf.
Love to see the gallery. That's awesome.
Yeah, what an event. I mean, if you have a chance to get out for the event itself, you should. And if you get a chance to play the courses, you definitely should. There's so much good golf, good energy at that event. Thank you again, Jason and Dani, for putting on an awesome event. Thanks to our competitors that we got to watch there, because what round of golf we got to finish on there. Hanna, thank you again for being on commentary. Is there anything you'd like to say?
I want to say thanks for Fairway Media for giving me an opportunity to commentate on the men's round lead card. It was awesome. And I want to thank Dani and Jason for the amazing tournaments. Farragut is awesome. If you do get a chance, there's 5 courses there, lots of great golf. And as you can see, the scenery is awesome, and you get like animals like deer, which is super great. So yeah, thanks for having me. I had fun,